See how long we go. see how long it's a silent podcast.
Yeah. Well, 45 minutes of not talking. Welcome to the Setbreaker Podcast, and today we have a very special guest, my friend Kenny Weber.
What up, dude?
Hello, sir. So Kenny, not only are you a comedian, but you shoot porno.
Oh yeah. You know what's funny is I forget about that even when I'm going on. Like I did it yesterday, and even going on the podcast today, I'm like, I don't even know what we're gonna talk about. Like,
because it's so normal to you. Because you've been shooting porn for how long?
It was only a couple years, but it gets like regular job like kind of fast, where it's not like it loses the like. It's like there's naked chicks around, but it's like that's the least of my worries.
Oh, because there's other stuff.
Yeah, there's just so much it's like a guerrilla style of filming, you know what I mean? And so you're doing so much shit, moving in and out of different locations and shit like that. So it's I don't really think too much of like I remember when I bring someone else like on set that hasn't been on set that much, and they're like, holy shit.
Yeah, you looking at the reactions and their faces and stuff. Yeah. So when you were first on set though, you probably were overwhelmed with all the
the first time I was on set was crazy, because the first time ever I was on set, the model was Elsa Jean, and so it was like a big it was somebody like famous, like
one
it was
of the
like
top ones.
Yeah, it was like the first time I went, it was like, oh, it's somebody that I recognize, and I was like, oh shit, and I was like an extra in the scene, so I was like, that's all I was doing there was I didn't do like other work. I was just there to be an extra. And
extra as
they call
like
it
a cuck.
No, not in this one. I've done that. I've done that before, which is like that shit's just fun. The way I do it is it's a lot of fun. It's just me. Like they give me the scenes for cuck work that are like more funny.
Cuck
like,
work.
Yeah, more funny. Well, because there's different kind of shit when it comes to like cuck work.
Yeah,
there's nasty shit. Like because there's some dudes that do it because that's what they're into.
Yeah,
they're super into like they're getting like sexual satisfaction
as a background
while they're at work. Oh. Because they're into being cucked. Like that's what they want in their personal life, is they want to get cucked. And so they'll do things like the dude fucking like will come on the cheeseburger, and the fucking cuck will eat it and shit. And it's just like, I'm not
like real cum.
Yeah. Like that's like they do. Like they'll make them. It depends on like they call them the bull, or the male model in the cuck scenario is called the bull.
Okay.
And sometimes the bull gets like aggressive, and it'll be like lay on the floor, and like has the cuck lay down on their back, and then like stands over them, so they're like looking up at their balls and asshole and the chick, and just fuck them like that. Like that's a style where they like to be humiliated. And so for me, when they asked me, like, hey, would you want to do this? I was like, I said no. I was like, yeah, just I'm not into that. And they're like, no, we were thinking of having you do like funny ones. So it's always, for me, I'm always like in the background when I've done like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 of those. And I'm just in the background. Like, I'm like, why are you fucking my wife? Like, I'm just like, like literally.
Like over exaggerated background work.
Yeah, exactly. And so I never do anything. The most I've done is, and this was just because I work with the same, I was working with Charles Dara, that's who I work with all the time for but when I do cuck work, I do it for a different company. And so he was the male talent. And so he was fucking with me, and he like picked the girl up. I was sitting on the couch, and he like picks the girl up, puts her across my lap, and then starts like fucking her on my lap. And it's like, I felt like little fucking splashes, like the flex. I looked and it was like, and I was like, oh, of like
pussy juice?
Of like pussy juice. Yeah. It was like,
so probably a little bit pre-cum inside.
Yeah. It's gotta be. And I was just like, ugh. I was like, yeah, I don't like that.
What did you have to do with your face? Did you start to act like you were enjoying it, or like,
no. My whole thing is I'm mad. Like what are the different scenes? I've done one where I'm like barbecuing, and I'm just so into the food. Like I'm just like, no, the key here is the seasoning. And my friend's there, and he keeps going inside. Like I'll be like, can you go get me some paprika?
Yeah.
And he goes inside, and then my wife is like, hey, I want to suck your cock. And he's like, oh, hey, and he comes back outside. Me and him are talking. Then she comes outside like, hey, come help me. And then they go inside and fuck. And then I'm barbecuing. For a while, I don't even notice them. I'm just like really in, because we put the barbecue right by the window. Right, so you can see me. Okay. You can see me while they're inside fucking. You can see me in the background. I'm just like looking at the food. I'm really like super into the food. And then all of a sudden I notice it. I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like walk around like, what? Please stop fucking my wife. You've got to stop this. Why are you doing this to me, honey? Like obviously more acting than that, but that's just the shit.
But super beta.
Yeah. The other one I've done another one where it's supposed to be like a swap. Like you're supposed to be, so they bring, so it's me and another, and then an actual like female star that are both extras. And so the way we play it in the beginning is like, oh, we just came home from like a group date or something. And then we're like, oh, we're going to go in the other room and fuck, and you guys stay in this room and fuck. And then we like walk off the other room, and then I actually get to just go home. Like that one is like the same pay. And I go home like after, I don't know, like instead of it being like 4 hours, it's like an hour.
Oh, because so it's the idea of
that we've switched.
That you're in that,
we've switched couples.
Oh, I get it.
You know what I mean?
I
It's the idea of that, and then but we don't. Obviously, they can do some scenes where they hire two if they want to pay it all that money. They want to pay the full rate of the girl, bring another guy in, pay his rate. Then they could have it where it's like two scenes going on at once, kind of like where it's like in this room they're fucking, in this room they are. And then the funniest one I did was the last one I did. Was it was the same concept of like, hey, we're gonna do a couple swap, but when the like I'm looking around when we go over to like their house, me and my wife go over to the house, and we're like, where's your wife? Oh, she's shy, she's and then he goes and gets his wife, and it's a blow up doll. And he's like, oh, this is my wife, and then I'm like, that's a fucking blow up doll. What do you talk? That's your wife. What are you fucking talking about? He's like, hey, like this is my wife. And then my wife in the scene that's gonna fuck him is like, hey, don't be like that about. I mean, this is who he chose to be with. Like, this is the swap that we're doing. And so the whole scene is like me holding on, like I'm holding this fucking blow up doll, and like, why are you this isn't even a real girl. Like in the background, I'm just like in the background holding the blow up doll. And at one point, I like bend the blow up doll over the couch, and I'm like, I just want this to stop. Like, but I'm like humping the blow up doll, like,
with your clothes on?
Yeah, with my clothes on.
Okay, because if you're butt naked, like, why?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're gonna need a bonus for that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They don't even pay enough. There's no. Even because you gotta, if you're gonna be talent, it's like no one pay is really enough. It's that you have to get consistent work so that you make good money over time. You know what I mean? Like if some girls, like let's say the average a girl makes is $1,000. Well, going and doing one fucking porn for $1,000 just gets you $1,000.
Yeah.
You need to do like that's why a lot like there's a girl yesterday, she's 19, about to be 20, and they're like, he asked her how many scenes she's done, and she's like, I think like 50 or 60.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so if she's
that age,
if that's her rate, if her rate's like I said, the average is around 1,000. If that's her rate, then she that's 50 grand that she's made in for however long she's been doing it. You know what I mean? Maybe a year and a half.
Just getting railed.
Yep.
Making money.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So since you've done porn or shooting on set or helping out for a couple of years now, how has that affected your sex life? The desensitization of that, or is it just two completely different things in your mind? There has to be some kind of correlation.
Oh, as far as like actual sex life, no, I would say no effect. If anything, I bet you like if you if you watch somebody do something a lot, you just get better. I bet you I'm like slightly better at fucking from watching dudes fuck all the time.
It's called mirror neurons.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how you like not that I couldn't fuck before, but it's just like I'm sure that there's like an effect that it's had.
It's like watching like a pro stand-up comic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, but besides that, the only effect would be like actually watching porn. I really watch like just like amateur shit now, and I don't really watch any of the the
pro
company
stuff, right?
the stuff from the companies because I worked with most of the girls, and it's not like I don't know. I'm not like super like, oh shit, hell yeah, I worked with this girl. So I'm like, I don't know, it takes the like a fantasy away, I guess.
Yeah, because it is a little too real.
Because I'm like, oh, I know that she was probably like complaining about something like right before this, or that something like I don't know, like so I just usually like I just watch. I say overall I watch less porn, and when I do, it's just like amateur shit instead of like. I was watching. I not even that I was exclusively watching professional shit before. It's just I never thought about it. But since working in it, I've watched almost exclusively like home video shit. Like
maybe sometimes with like an iPhone.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Because I feel like if you do see these companies, these porns, right, the pro ones. Then you're probably breaking down the lighting. You're probably breaking down like they probably took a break here. This cut happened because of this.
And then there's some that are pro that are porn. They're companies, but they don't do like a professional job. Like they don't do a great job. And so then I'm like, what? You don't even have good lighting. You don't like if you're gonna have bad lighting, it might as well be some random ass people that came home from the club and they got like fucking The Office playing in the background. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying like like if it's not gonna be good, it might as well just be real amateur shit.
Got it.
Because you know that's a thing. Like let's say I came into some money, or I just make good money, and so I have like $100,000 sitting around. I could open up my own website like right now. Like I could open up a website, and then all I do is be like, hey, I have Kenny's fuck tapes. Right, that's my website. And I just hit up the agents and I'll be like, hey, I started a website called Kenny's Fuck Tapes. I want to hire, whoever. Like I could just go hire the girl. Now I'm a fucking pornographer. I'm like that's the barrier of entry. Like you could do it.
It's just the money.
The money you can set and then you like have to. There's certain things like you have to set up. Make sure the back end is set up like your paperwork and like all your shit. So there's some companies where usually they'll like go into business with you. And they'll be like, hey, we'll do all of this stuff. We'll do all the back end shit. You just shoot the scenes. And then depending on how many subscribers you have, you either make money or you don't. And so if you like, there's guys like there's guys that do that are just like, really, it's almost like an escort service. That's not what it is. But if you think about it, that's like what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They book a girl, have the girl come over, they fuck her on film, upload it to their website.
Yeah.
And it's a way for them. So it's what I mean by that is it's a way for them to get pussy.
And it probably makes it so they get more pussy later if somebody like some non-porn girl sees and you're like, oh my God, like I wonder what's like to fuck him because he's fucking so many girls. Even if they know he's paying them and doing all that, it still psychologically does something. Right?
Yeah. And so so there's like that's that's a barrier of entry. You have money, you can do that, and then now you're fucking all these girls.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about that?
About doing it?
Yeah, doing it.
I mean, I don't have money, so no.
I mean, if you have money.
No, because it's I'd rather use the money for so many other things that would be better for like comedy and shit than to like.
Yeah, because that's your actual passion. Your like main thing,
than to just be like, oh, I'll get pussy. I mean, fuck. Nowadays, honestly, if I was gonna do it, like if I was single and I was good and I wanted to, number one, I wouldn't do it because I think if you're a porn star or you're in porn and you start doing comedy, that's totally okay. Right, I think that you're fine, and you're gonna kind of base part of your stand up is gonna be. I mean, I know there's like Sally Mullins, who's like a fucking gilf, like a grandma, like she's old as fuck. She's a comic. I don't know if she like goes around with like Stoner Rob and
is she a redhead?
No, she's like got like blondish gray.
I might have seen her.
I'm sure you've seen her around. She's like kind of pops up all over the place. Sally Mullins. I think this could be. I want to say it's Kate Kennedy. I could totally be wrong on the name, but there's another girl. There's like two or three girls that are comics.
Yeah.
Then there's a guy, Tommy Pistol, who I did the first cuck scene I ever did was with him, and then he was talking about he's like gone up at the Cellar, and he like was doing a little bit of comedy before. He's a funny dude. I could see it. I could be like, oh, okay, I got like you could see that he's like. He has that in him that I can kind of tell by his acting.
Was he the guy that was wearing that fucking tie-dye thing with the mustache?
No, that's Charles. But
he's a porn star.
Yes.
Okay.
That's who I always work with. I've worked with him on, a couple hundred scenes.
Yeah. What is it like when you know exactly what a homie's dick looks like and it's just whatever? It's just his dick and then you just separate.
I just don't think about it.
You don't think it's just
it just is what it is. Like, I mean, when that shit, when it comes to that shit, like at this point, to me, like it is different to me because I notice it when I'm showing people. Like I have to be wary about showing people shit because I can just be like, dude, you guys got to fucking look at this. This is fucking hilarious, or this is like, oh, look how crazy this is, and it's like I'll forget sometimes until I come across somebody that's like, whoa, what the fuck, like that they're like they have a like that some people could like that it's weird, not even weird that it's not that shit doesn't happen all the time, that people aren't just like, because to me, like Doug, if you fucking were here right now and you're doing this podcast naked, I just don't give a fuck. Like to me, like yeah, whatever. Like if we were at the comedy club and the fucking comedy club, it's all the open micers and every open micer's like just naked walking around, like it means nothing. It's not like everyone else is gonna be like, oh dude, that person's oh fuck, oh it's like yeah. No.
Oh, so if you saw Bobby Lee do his thing at the end of his show where he strips naked, pretty much naked almost, and you just it wouldn't be as funny to you because you're just like that's just,
it's like like to me like naked people is like whatever, like it's just whatever. Like I literally have like I'm on set where they're like cut and then they're like the dudes like there's fucking some fucking like fucking black dude with his fucking BBC out, just like, oh yeah, I've got to get. Hey, do you mind come sucking my not me, but he's like telling the girl, could you come suck my dick, help me get my edge back? It's like, dude, there's just that fool's just like helicoptering his dick, just like do like, and I'm like talking, just spinning it around, like trying to work it. There's a guy who there's a dude who's like asks for like because it's the dude's got to get a hard on, and so if they're into something they'll ask for it. There's a dude that's like, can you bite my foreskin, can you fucking like dude, they ask for specific things, and if the girl's down it helps them out.
Did anybody say like, can you punch something?
I haven't heard any, but the weirdest one I've heard is like
clap my fucking balls together.
The weirdest one I've heard is more of like, can you fucking like bite my foreskin and play with it or something like that, and like that's the weirdest one, but it's at the same time as, I mean, whatever, dude.
Yeah, that never crossed my mind to have a girl bite my foreskin.
Yeah, I don't have any, so I wouldn't know. I don't.
Oh, yeah, I'm circumcised too. Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit. There's like a little bit.
You can like stretch it out a bit. You can push it down in there and stretch up a little.
Oh yeah, because he's got that turtleneck, so there's enough.
Too.
Yeah, there's enough of that.
Yeah,
that shit.
Yeah, so it's but yeah, just nudity is not. I don't know. Like even like I don't know. It's even like if you see like we're back to doing comedy shows. So like we're at the comedy club and there's like you know, there's hot girls at the club, but it's like it loses its. I guess that it doesn't change my sex life. It changes the way that I interface with like hot girls, I guess. Yeah. But I also have a girlfriend, so I don't really interface. I'm not really like trying to fuck girls. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to fuck girls. I'm not really, but I'm not. So I'm not. Yeah, it's just the way that I think about it before I would be like, oh man, like you're like wondering, like I wonder what that girl looks like naked. I wonder, you know what I mean? Like the things that you think of as a dude when you see a hot chick. Yeah. And like now I just don't. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what.
Yeah, because when you're in a scarcity mindset, which is majority guys, then as soon as they see a girl that's, you know, attractive, it's like it exaggerated and blown up in their mind, and then they start to fill in their personality. They're like this it's like a halo effect, right? So then for you, because you're so used to it, you just view them as like just people. You know they're attractive, you know they're hot, but it's not like hot, right?
Yeah. Like I got a comic, a guy in the comedy scene, the local comedy scene, that hit me up and was like, "What?" Or actually, I could read the text exactly. I won't throw him under the bus of who it is. It's not somebody super predominant. I don't even know if you know him, but let me see.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of people. I forget names.
Okay, this is what he texted me. He's like, "Hey, can I ask you a dumb question?" I'm like, "For sure." It's actually a two-parter. Do you know Jinx Mays? Is she single? But I don't know, or I haven't worked with her. He's like, well, when he was gonna have me on his podcast, he's gonna have me on his podcast, and he's like, well, we'll do a podcast when you do, ha ha ha, like just like fucking around, like, but I'm like, ha ha, and he's like, it's so weird, and then he's like, this is just like, I go, oh, ha 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 ha, to right, and then the next text is, it's so weird wanting to fuck someone because you've seen them fuck a bunch of times, probably not very healthy, and I put ha ha ha, it's the fantasy. When you see it in person, a lot of it goes away, and then. He's like, you should do porn rehab for people addicted to watching it, but it's not. And then this is what made me laugh. I couldn't stop laughing, but it's not just a fantasy for me. I'm handsome, funny, and bigger than average dick. I think if she met me in a normal situation and I pretended not to notice who she was, I'd have a real shot. And then my response, I just sent like a million like crying, laughing faces because I think that shit's pretty hilarious.
That whole thought process is so like,
yeah.
He's played out multiple scenarios in his mind.
Yeah.
Over this. That's probably his fantasy, to fuck a porn star.
Yeah. And it just would be so like my thing is like even on stage I've been talking about a little bit is like they fuck all the time. Like that's the last like especially working in it. I guess I didn't think about it too much, but I would have if you're like, hey, you want to fuck a porn star? Like I would think like, oh yeah, okay. If I who's gonna be like, no, I don't want to. But when you're thinking about what the best is, it's like not fucking somebody, number one, that fucks dudes that fuck professionally. Just because these dudes fuck professionally doesn't mean they're good at it. But there are a bunch of them that are like the top guys. There's a reason they're the top guys because they can fuck. They can do it for a fucking long time. Come when they need to come. They can really fuck. And then there's a bunch of fucking. Again, if you wanted to be a male performer, you could get in and you probably get paid like $400 a day for your first scenes. Like you could get in, and then from there, it would be. Like how big's your dick? how straight is your dick? Like, is it like fucking not curved
That
and
affects.
shit? Yeah, if you have like
they
a
want
big,
straight dick.
If you have a big, yeah, because a lot of them they're fucking huge or like curved and broken and shit. Like if it's a huge dick, you see it like cockeyed because they broke it at some point. You know what I mean?
They broke
And
it
so-
from fucking so much, or maybe
or
maybe
from
doing some
even
weird.
being young. Even they could have been something young, like just being young and they have a fucking fat hog,
Yeah.
not knowing how to use it because it's like when it's long, like if it's like really long, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? They
yeah,
just
yeah.
like break it or something. Because you're like Dennis Rodman's got like a
He like dive bombed
he's broken his dick like multiple
twice, I
times
think.
or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like they're looking for a long. So if you have a long straight dick, if you can just get through the motions all like because you got to understand there's on set there's like I work with someone who does well all the time. Like he just doesn't like. And then I've been on another few sets, and there's different points during the time where it's like, oh, what's going? I'm like, what's going on? Like, what are we waiting? And they're like, oh yeah, he's got to get his edge. We're waiting for him. Like
To get
their dick hard.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So if you can get your dick hard, keep your dick hard, come when you're supposed to. Fucking all the positions that you're supposed to. You got to like help the girl be open to camera. So you got to know those things. If you do all those things, you're going to get more and more scenes. You get paid. You get paid.
So
a little
awareness of where the camera is. So they're thinking about multiple things.
Yeah.
While they're fucking.
Exactly.
See that right there, I never knew about.
Yeah.
I just thought they only had to be good at fucking, but they're playing different roles.
But there's different. But there are guys like. But we're talking about to become like a top performer, somebody who's working all the time. One of the guys that like continues to get jobs because again, you can go in, you can get the job done. Maybe you have to fucking take like a couple of breaks and get your dick back and all that stuff. And like people will hire you and shit. But when you're like the best guy, like a guy where they're like, yeah, you come in, this guy fucking always does this shit. It's really helpful to the crew in that way of like getting the girl opening the girl to camera. It's just like the girl. If the girl's been around a long time and has common sense, then they know, oh, this is going to look, this position looks good to camera. I need to move this way. Like, but one of the best ways I could describe porn, like you ever have like you have like stupid jobs where you work with girls around, right? And the job's not stupid because you work with girls around, but you have jobs where there's girls around, there's hot girls, and you're like, oh man, I wish I could, but they're like, some of them are cool, some of them are idiots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And you're like, I wish you would. You're like, I want to see all these girls naked. Well, that's for the job. That's what it is. Some of the so like when people are like, oh, do you like want to fuck the girls? It's like most of the time, it's just like any other job where like you get to know somebody. Like most people that you get to know a little bit, you don't want to fuck them. Most people they're like, do you want to like meeting them and seeing how they are as a person? Do you really want to fuck them? Will you like as dudes? Are you like, fucking I'll fuck a girl, like, I'll just want to get my dick wet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do you really, are you like, wow, this person's so like they're fucking cool, they're like whatever you're looking for, right? Cool, like I want to fuck. No, it's like it's just the same as like if you worked at fucking Target and you could say you're just seeing your coworkers naked. That's like all of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because you're like some of them you're fucking like, oh yeah, you're really hot, but you're an idiot, like you know what I mean?
Because you get it's the same thing where on the desensitization process of just like with every girl you meet, that's like, it's like novelty, right? It's like new, and then you just get used to them, and then you get to see them for who the fuck they are. Just like when you're dating somebody, and other guys are like, dude, she's so hot, why the fuck would you not want to be with her? I'm like, because she's a fucking dumbass, and she's a bitch. She's a fucking bitch, you know?
And that shit works that shit works like the other way, just the other way around. Like there's plenty of chicks that, like,
men to women. Like, humans in general, that's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, damn, okay. So what's the longest you've seen a dude keep his shit up and just keep like doing it nonstop?
Like,
for the reality, so people know.
The longest is probably like 45 minutes.
Just straight.
Because that was a content scene that we filmed. And so that was like, because there's like OnlyFans, and there's like a bunch of platforms like OnlyFans now. There's Pornhub, X videos, and so they upload to all these. They upload content, which is just fucking like literally like videos, like the ones we do, because I'll film them with my phone, are pretty good because it's like me. But a lot of times they'll just set up the fucking camera like this podcast, and then just like, oh, we're gonna fuck right here on the table, and then they upload it to like OnlyFans or all that stuff. He still will use me to like use my phone to like actually get good angles and shit. But that was a straight through. I mean, and that probably was, I think the whole thing was 45 minutes. So like fucking was probably like 35 minutes.
35 minutes straight.
35 minutes of, and we're talking that's of straight, like they're just fucking the whole time.
Not even taking a like eating a pussy
this,
to just fucking going in.
Yeah, this was. I mean, there may have been in because if they like change positions, sometimes they'll stick like the girl start sucking his dick or something.
Yeah,
so there may have been that, but not like long. It's not, you know.
So he's just fucking good at what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it just depends. It just like it depends because those content scenes are different because they're not. It's not about being like open to camera. You could do what you want if he feels like he wants to like I'm gonna make this a good product that's open to camera and stuff, or he's like I just want to fuck, like I just want to like actually just fuck this girl and whatever we capture I'm gonna sell on OnlyFans.
That's crazy because when I think of porn stars, especially male porn stars, I'm just kind of amazed at how they can just rail the fuck out of a girl they just met, because I'm not like a beast with a girl I just meet. Sometimes I bust quick. I don't know their body very well, but these guys, they probably fuck so much. They have a familiarity to like different types of pussy and shit.
Yeah, I mean they have their like they've got their own things and their own stuff going on. I mean probably most of them. I would assume most of the people that are involved in porn, they have like, you know what I mean, like they're like. I don't think sex addict is the right word to use, but they're like so high, like it's such a, especially the dudes. It's such, it's a important, like for us, the most important commodity. I would say for any comic, the most important commodity is being funny, right?
100%.
It's like there's just you can argue all day that like you could be a comic and not have that. It's like, but real comics, like the people, like it's like I always say, it's like that like it's that thing where you're like, I'll be like, oh, you're a comic. Like you can see it on stage or you can see it off stage.
Yeah.
Like you can just tell. You just talk to somebody and there's shit. And I think with porn, especially with the dudes, because with the dudes, I think it's all like every dude is like fucking wants that pussy. They want that pussy
like more than
and
anything.
the money and more. Yeah. And the money is they're making good money, but they want that pussy. And for the girls, you get there's more categories that they can fall into of like there are the ones that are just like the dudes where they're there, you know, because they really like to fuck, they want to fuck all these dudes, that's their thing. Then there's some that are just there for like the money. They're literally like, this is how I make, you know, more than minimum wage. You know what I mean? And so it's like they're more like they're all sex workers, right? It's sex work, but it's like they're more like to them it's like punching in and punching out.
Straight business.
Yeah. And like you'll find in my experience, like I said, I'm sure you'll find a little bit of everything everywhere, but it's like I found that the girls could be more like that and the dudes are just like, of course they want their money, but they want to get pussy. And the whole OnlyFans thing really opened up all these like loopholes and all these little things, like these extra things. Cause like for me, for instance, let's say if I was single and I really wanted to do it, I wouldn't open up my own website. This was something that I got halfway through this thought earlier, is if you're a porn star and you become a comic, that's cool. But if you're a comic and you get into doing porn and stuff, that's not cool. Just like think of all the comics, the girls that got OnlyFans, right? Everybody do what you want with your body. Mm-hmm. I'm all for that. But you have to, there's a difference between the girl who was already doing porn and then she got her OnlyFans and then she brings over her following of all these like guys that are fucking jerking off to her online, and a comic who gets an OnlyFans, which I think she should do if she wants to do. Like I'm not against her doing, but the way that I look at it's like you get an OnlyFans and then it's a bunch of like open micer. Like I'm talking about like most of the comics that I know, the female comics I know that got OnlyFans are like on the much lower level of the comedy scene of like where they're at right now. Not that they can't go higher, but they like, you're just fucking a bunch of like open micers are just subscribing to your shit. Just like a bunch of dudes that see you do comedy are subscribing to you now.
People that you know in real life.
Yeah.
Versus when you go from porn, it seems to be more psychologically acceptable from porn to stand-up. It's like, oh, that's like cool. They decided to change it and oh, she could fuck and she's funny. Whoa. Versus, oh, she's, you know, doing the funny shit, but then going straight to that. Then it's kind of like an to something like, oh, wow. Like I could see that why like guys would think like that, you know?
So that's why I would never, that's like the main reason why I would never do it, because it's like, it would hurt. Like I wouldn't be involved in it like that because it already does. Like I'm dude, you can find me on Pornhub not fucking or naked or anything.
Cooking.
Like you can find me
Working.
cucking. You can find me in like 2 or 3 different scenes of me just in tidy whities. Like because that's like there's a few
Tidy whities.
And
doing
so
what?
like
Just sleeping on the couch.
One of them I play the concierge to hell. And this dude, he dies, and in one scene he goes to purgatory and he fucks this girl that's in purgatory. And then the next scene that we came out with was that because he fucked the girl in purgatory, he went to hell. And I'm in hell and I'm wearing like a fucking top hat, my underwear, like tidy whities, not even because I don't even wear tidy whities, but we got them just for the scenes. Tidy whities. And then I'm wearing like a tuxedo jacket that's just red. And I'm like, hello, because it's Carl Tough Love as the character.
Okay.
And they changed my voice in post, so I sound like kind of like a deep, like, hello, Mr. Tough Love. And I was like, you tasted the forbidden fruit in purgatory, and now you're in hell. I suggest you fuck the devil in her ass before she gets in yours. And so then the girl, and it's like this anal scene, and it's in that scene I'm literally standing next to them the whole time they're fucking, which I don't usually. They was just like that scene. That's what we ended up doing. I'm standing there, like I'm standing like this. At one point he's fucking her, and and this was an anal scene, which we don't usually do too often. At least, and he's fucking her, and she's about to fall off the couch, and she goes pop, and like literally her hands like on my stomach.
Oh,
and then she's like pushing off of my stomach, getting fucked. And then there's another one where I'm in my underwear, where I'm literally just wearing tidy whities, shoes, and I have like my hair up. And that one was called Hide and Fuck. And that one's like one of the really funnier ones because it starts out with Charles being like, we're gonna play a game today. It's called Hide and Fuck. You hide, and if I find you, I fuck you.
Yeah.
And so it's me and then the girl. And so then it starts, he's like, all right, go. And then it starts off and it's just like fucking us running. It's like me running all fat in slow motion and shit through the woods and shit, trying to get away. I hide behind a thin tree and you just see my stomach pop out. Like just funny. Like we just do a lot of funny, stupid shit. And so that one is like really fun.
Why is that a thing? Why is there so much humor and comedy in porn? Why is that?
I personally think it's just, it probably, because I don't think people care to see the funny shit in porn that much. Like I really don't. I think there's a little bit of it's like like have you seen the one, like, you know, like there's this website called Wood Rocket. Like if you want to really laugh at porn, look up Wood Rocket. Wood Rocket does these parodies, these really deep parodies though, where they spend, it's like they're not big budget, but I know they're spending money on it. Like it doesn't look like a big budget movie, but I'm like, you're spending some fucking money on this. And they have like an Aladdin parody where it's like Jafuck and Prince All D, and they do songs and it's fucking cheesy and terrible. There's one that's a fucking Lego parody. They're painted yellow and they have these big blocky,
like the Lego movie,
like Lego movie, and then they end up taking those off and they're fucking and they're yellow. They're painted like completely yellow.
And they turn into a Simpson.
Yeah, it's more like a Simpson when they take everything off, but it was supposed to be their Legos.
Are they the ones that did the Guardians of the Galaxy one?
If it looks really bad, it probably is.
It looked bad, but I was really surprised at the effort they put into the makeup and everything. I was like, oh shit.
I didn't
watch it, but I saw on the internet like people were posting little.
But
TikTok.
Wood Rocket, pretty funny if you look it up. But what I was getting at with, so if I was gonna do anything, what I would, and this, I'm bringing this up because I'm bringing up the little hustle that guys in the industry can have right now, is because, and I'm saying it because I could do it. I could go on Twitter right now and I could be like, hey, I'm thinking of starting my own OnlyFans. I got to film some content. I just want to, like, if it was me, if I was going to do it, I'll be like, I'm just doing POV and mainly like for mine, I need blowjobs. Like just to be getting my dick sucked. And literally, I know for sure there would be probably like 15 girls right not that they're like, oh, Kenny, we like you so much, we want to fuck you. It's just that they're like, they literally will be like, that's so fucking cute that you're getting into this and you're doing your OnlyFans. I would love to come suck your dick. I would love to be one of the first people to perform with you. Like I would love that, and they would be down and shit. And and that's what I'm saying. That's another hustle, is just being a dude with OnlyFans. If you have some credibility, so like the male performers, that's what they do. They'll be like, oh, you want to shoot some content? And then they just could go, and then that's like nobody makes any money except for what they sell it for on OnlyFans. But then you can be like, hey, I got content. Like, dude, we worked with a girl last 2 weeks ago that was like, oh yeah, I've been doing like 3 or 4 content shoots a day. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, you've been like I'm not even saying that in a way of like judgment on like that's gross. I'm saying it more on a way of like, fuck, are you sore? Are you like,
yeah, that's a lot of work,
physically,
man.
Isn't that like a lot of work?
Yeah. Oh, so it's kind of like with us, if we want to shoot skits or something, like, hey, you should come, like, just like, yeah, I'll shoot a skit. So it's just take away the sex part.
Yeah, but imagine if,
in a way,
yes, but all they're doing is sex. That when they do it that way, they don't do any intro, they don't do anything. But the thing is imagine if like you or I, who are like both of us flirt in between the open mic world and being like a professional, right? Like we've like a little bit more than the average open micer. So it's like if you and I started doing sketches, but we could hit up, I don't know, any fucking headliner that's good, like and take away like Louis and Chappelle and fucking like, yeah, like Sarah Silverman and fucking Eliza, like the top people. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to hit up fucking those people and get them, but like if we could hit up fucking, I don't know, like Brett Ernst, somebody who's a fucking touring headliner, he's on Cobra Kai, he's fucking like a fucking legit and funny as fuck. If we could hit him up and just be like, you want to do a sketch? And he's like, yeah, sure. And it's like, we could probably do that if we have a relationship with some of those people, if we have a good relationship with them over time. But I'm talking like, this is like if you worked with them at the club once and then you're like, hey, you want to be in my sketch? And they're like, sure.
And that's what that's like.
Yeah, because it's like, because you can get like you can like you know who, let's like Emily Willis. You know who that is? Emily Willis. Emily Willis is a pretty popular, famous girl. And it's like, dog, I can just hit her up. And be like, oh, what's up? Like, we want to, like, I don't, it's not like I am, but it's like I have access to hitting up like some of the more famous porn stars. You know what I mean? And they'd be, like I said, some of them we down, some wouldn't, but it's like they'd be more down because I've seen it happen to other guys that were thinking about doing it that were on the production side.
Yeah.
But they ended up not going through with it. They were like thinking about fucking doing their OnlyFans and doing the same thing, and they put it out there as feelers, and girls were like, oh my god, like I would love to, like that would be awesome.
I wonder if some guys do that and never actually release it, so it's kind of like they're getting a hooker, like just straight sex work. I'm sure that there's some that have done it and don't release it. I don't think there's anyone that does it like what you're saying is like more like serialized, where they do it with like let's say they've done this with 50 girls where they're just like, yeah, I'm filming it, and then never release it. Yeah,
you know what I mean? But yeah, there's it's a job. You could be a job, or it can be also be like a lifestyle, and that's more of the stuff that I try to watch out for. Like generally, like I'm not like, to me it's a job. Like porn's not a lifestyle, but there's people on the production side and there's people on the like obviously performers where it's like it's a life, like doing this as a lifestyle. There's like there's this girl who became popular just as an Instagram model. Then she got into porn and immediately got like contracted by Brazzers, did her Brazzers contract, and now she's doing just content. And she's married or has a fiance, and he does porn as well. They just do content, and what they do is they literally just go on OnlyFans and they hit people up and fucking get them to come out, and dudes come over and fuck her, chicks come over and fuck him. Sometimes they like sometimes they'll like, it'll be like, oh, this chick comes over and they have a threesome, or sometimes the couple two people come over, they fucking swap or whatever they're doing. That's their lifestyle. Like their lifestyle is really enthralled in the fucking porn industry, and not even in the porn industry, like just
fucking,
just
right?
fucking, yeah.
And they just get pure satisfaction from that.
I guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like to me, I feel like it's like it's like anything. It's too, like it would be too much. But at the same time, like I've never been like that with comedy, where I've been to a point where I'm like, it's too much. It's like
that's true, because we're always just like, oh, I can't, another show, whatever. Like we don't, even when we fuck up, we just keep doing it.
Yeah.
We just thinking about it,
But at the same time, I can't also be like, this is the closest thing we have to like what they're doing, their content, because I can't call you up and be like, hey dude, do you want to do sets in front of each other? You know what I mean? Like you can have
way more access.
Yeah,
and the immediacy of it. Yeah,
exactly. And they're selling sex, which sells fucking way better than comedy does.
Definitely much better. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think right below that is comedy though.
Yeah,
like people love to laugh.
Oh yeah, I think people love to laugh, but people don't see the value in paying for comedy. That's why like I don't do very many free tickets anymore. I don't do really any discounts or like coupon code, because we used to do promo codes for tickets, because all that did was just teach people that to come when there's promo codes. Like I still like we used at the Rec Room, we use this website called Seat Junkie, where you just tell them like, hey, I have 10 tickets, and then they have subscribers, and they send it out to their subscribers, and their subscribers can claim the tickets. But the catch is they're just free tickets. But they're paying for this service where people give free tickets to the service, and then the service makes the tickets available to their customers. Right? It's just a way to help fill your room.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I've put like I usually will put like 20 tickets on there for like weekday shows, like not Friday or Saturday at 7, but like all the other shows, the late night shows or weekday shows, I'll put on Seat Junkie. Let's say I put 20 tickets. When it's going good, maybe I'll have like 10 tickets claimed. And I had somebody already email me now that we're open saying, hey, are you guys I've always come on Seat Junkie, are you guys going to be using that anymore? And so that person enjoys coming to the comedy club, wants to come to the comedy club, but only wants to come to the comedy club if the ticket is free.
Okay.
And it's like, but there's the same, it's funny because you would think that it would be like, oh, this time you get to come for free. Maybe you get to come for free again in the future, but you got to usually pay. But the way people's minds work is they're like, well, okay, I value this at $15 or at $20. Or if it's a promo code, well, now I value this. Well, why isn't it $9 again? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like why I'd paid $9 last time. So to me, it's like, nah, dog, you pay tickets are $20. If it's like the prime shows, prime time, like Friday, Saturday, 7:00. Otherwise they're $15, and that's it. And if you don't, and like I give away like to people that I meet in person. I'll be like, hey, I'll give you this. I have like physical tickets, and I write the date and time of when the show is, and I'll be like, if you can come to the show, you can come. Then you can get hooked up. But I don't do like I quit because we did so many promo codes and so many comp tickets and all these different things before, and I just eventually I just realized
fucks the business up.
Yeah, I just realized it's just people value shit at what you put a value on it at.
True, which is why people like there's a reason why they put happy hour at restaurants versus not every fucking day or whenever. Hey, I have this, right?
Exactly.
They're taught to go during happy hour. If they can't make it, they're like, well, it was on this day. I have literally no choice because it's Wednesday instead of Tuesday at like fucking 10 p.m. whatever. So I'm just gonna pay because I do like this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, $20. Like keep your tickets, but also know your value too. If you're doing like a bar show, if you're doing some bar show, you're like, I'm starting a bar show. Your tickets are $20. Well, it's gonna be fucking hard to sell $20 tickets at a bar show. Maybe they're $5, but it's just like free comedy is. It's not that you can't do it. It's just I don't know. It just devalues it. It devalues it. Just like I don't like when people invite. I don't really like it when people invite like their. You should only. It's like a certain type of friends and family that you invite to bar shows. Mm-hmm. You should know that they're like bar people. Like don't invite. In my opinion, don't. If you're like, if you have friends and family that don't frequent bars. Mm-hmm. And unless they're so into you that they really just want to go see you, like don't talk people into go seeing you at a bar show, because especially if they don't know comedy. Because most of the time when someone gets into open mics and starts doing shows, like their first few shows, most of their friends and family, most of them have never been to a comedy show, right? And so now you're introducing your friends and family to comedy shows, and you're introducing them to like the lowest form. Yeah. And it's like AJ, when he started, I didn't know him at all. Like I hadn't really talked to him. I just saw every week at the Harp that he was bringing like so many people, and I pulled him aside one night. I said, and I didn't even know him. I'd never talked to him. I don't think I may have been like talked, but we never had a conversation. And I pulled him aside and was like, stop bringing all these people. I was like, you're ruining comedy for all of these people. I was like, they're coming here to see a comedy show because they want to support you, and they're watching all these other comics who are not professional comedians struggle on stage at the Harp.
Yeah.
And now you're turning them off to comedy. So then when you're ready to really perform and you're ready for them to come see you, it's like going to be an uphill battle of getting them to respect comedy. Because when you're like, I'm doing comedy now, I'm doing these comedy shows, and then you even think that your friends are funny that you're meeting, but they're your friends. They're not funny, probably.
You already like each other.
Half the time. Like, don't you notice? Like, do you notice you meet comics and you're like, this person's not funny at all, and then like a few weeks later, you know them, and now you give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit more. So now you're like, oh, they're kind of funny. Like that shit. Like, and sometimes people just grow and become funny. Like, so it's like both things do happen, but it's like when you know, so like you're like, oh yeah, these are all my new friends, they're so funny, and then people, they see them and they're like, yikes, they're not my friends. So I don't find them,
we're acquaintances, we just kind of know each other.
They're not my, like no, I'm saying that's what your people are like. Well, they're not my friends. I don't think they're that funny.
No, I got you.
And so I just there's just ways to do all this shit, and a lot of people just don't want to do the right way, because the right way is like long and sucks, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, with anything, when you take shortcuts, it always fucks it up.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Like any fucking thing you do.
You know, that's where bringer shows were born. That's where bringer shows were born from. You know, that's why they're so bad, because like bringer shows, I don't think bringer shows are bad because the club is making you bring people so they can make money. I think, that just is like a easy business model. That just makes sense. The reason the bringer shows are bad is because nobody puts on a good fucking bringer show. Like if you just put on, like I put on, like when I at the Rec Room in 2018, I technically put on good bringer shows. That's technically what I did. Like my shows, the mixed shows, then the layout for the show was a host, then 4 comics did 5 minutes, then they were all local. Those were always the local comics. And then there was a feature and a headliner. Feature did 15 minutes. The host did 10. Then you had 4 comics do 5. Then you had 15 for a feature, and then you had a headliner do 40. Right? And technically like my thing was, the way that I booked it was like to book as big a headliner as I could, like Sarah Tiana did a show, and I tried to put comics on the show that know that she's funny and would want to invite people to a show that had her on it. You know what I mean? And so I never go, like, if you don't bring any, I tell everybody the same thing. I'm like, if you're doing like those 5-minute local comic spots, it's like, if you bring people, the more people you bring, the more often you're going to get booked again quicker. And if you keep bringing people, you're going to keep getting booked. And then I eventually get to a point after, literally, I'm talking like after 3 to 5 shows, right? Where I feel, I'm like, damn, this person's really doing this shit. Like, then I start to feel bad. I can't just keep doing, I'm not going to just be like, that's what you got to do. That's what you're going to always do. Like, you got to move on. You got to graduate from that. So then it's like, I'll have you do like guest spots at the last minute where you can't even bring people, like where you're like, you could tell a couple, you're like, hey, you want to do, like, you know, you want to, like, for instance, the first week Rec Room was back, AJ was on like the first show, and he brought a shit ton of people out, fucking like brought all his friends and family out. And then the very next week I realized I had like 5 minutes, and I was like, well, who am I gonna just give this spot to? And I was like, well, there's no time for them to promote, so I just gave it to AJ, because it's like, he's done, the week before he brought so many people, I'm like, I want to give you just a spot.
Yeah, because as a producer, it was you don't forget that shit.
Yeah, and so and so then you graduate to that. Then after you're doing those spots, then the next thing is then you start hosting, and then you can get a bunch of host spots, and then the host spots are paid. You know what I mean? And then you can do host spots, and then from there, then it would be, you know, then you would go to where instead of doing the host spot, then on the showcase you're doing a 10-minute spot. And it's like paid. It's paid less than the host, but you're doing like a 10-minute spot. Then from there, when you can do 15 minutes, then you have then you do 15 minutes, and you get like a regular ass like showcase 15-minute spot. And it's like the way that I try to do that, so that people can see it and people can be like, oh, there's a method to all this shit.
Is that just your model, or was it influenced by
just mine?
Just your own model?
Like, it's because it's like all of what comedy is for the most part, is people being like, oh, I think you should do it this way. And so it was just like, when I saw bringers, but the way I do it is like when I book somebody for those shows, I tell them, I say, look, the more people you bring, the more often you're going to get booked. And if you don't bring anybody, you're still going to go up. I'm not going to be mad. I don't care. If you don't bring anybody, I'm not mad at you. I don't think differently of you. You just have to know that now, like, I'm like, you don't bring people out. So when I'm booking a show, like a Thursday night show, because these were all on like Thursday, when I'm booking these Thursday night shows, I've got to if I know people like promote and sell tickets, like I've got to put them on the show because I've got to sell tickets. So it's like you're going to get booked less often if you. But I'm not like, it literally could be like you, like again, I book you one time, you bring 30 people, right? Then I might book you the next week. I might book you 3 weeks from now. If I book you and you bring no one, it might be 6 months or 3 months, 3 to 6 months before, you know what I mean? Yeah. Before I'm like, okay, well, we'll give you another. It just depends. You know what I mean?
Because I think it also shows effort on their end, like how much they cared about that spot as well, right?
Of course.
Yeah, because that would make me feel good too. And I'd always think, every time I think of them, I'm like, okay. Because there could be somebody maybe a little funnier, but you know that they care enough to just like help you out too at the same time. Of course. Yeah. So it's a win-win. And it's the show, like the show that I'm trying to put on, you should be proud. That should be the shit where you're like, no, you don't understand. If you're going to come to a show, this is the show that you have to come to. Because the best that you can do, it doesn't matter what your fucking friends and family think about you. Yeah.
You're just showing off.
Yeah, that's true.
You're just showing.
Yeah, look how funny I am.
You're like, look what I can do. Look what I'm doing. What matters is like them, what they think. Like that's why when you go to a bringer show, it's like if everybody brought 7 people and there's 30 comics on the fucking show, you're mainly telling your jokes to the other people, not to your people. Your people just get to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But they also get to enjoy the other people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I want to make it so that they enjoy the other people. So you're like, oh shit, like I got to be on a show. Like I keep using Sarah Tiana as the example because that's just the one I'm thinking of. We did the same thing at the club. We did the same format at the club, but it wasn't my show, but we did it with Kyle Kinane. There was like 4 comics that did 5 minutes. Kyle Kinane just went up and did like 40 minutes of new material. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like those comics still, like we were just talking about the other day, like Brian Matthews was on that show. And he was just like, yeah, dude, that's one of my like favorite shows I've ever done. Like fucking performed on the show. He brought out, it was his birthday too. And like all his family came out. Yeah. And so his family got to see him do comedy and then got to be like, what? Kyle Kinane? Like,
so
like you get to see like this is, and that's why like, that's, you know, for AJ, for that first show back, it was Laura Bites, A.B. Farley, Nicole Amy Schreiber, Stephen AJ hosted. And there's one person I'm forgetting that I wasn't forgetting every other time I brought up this show. But there's one other person. But it's like that lineup is fucking sick. Mm-hmm. That lineup is good. So it's like when AJ's like friends and family come to the show, they're like, wait, like there was no sets to miss on that show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was just like you got to see all those people.
And what it does psychologically too is it makes AJ look even better, or like, oh, he's like that's there. I mean. So they're more likely to go to future shows, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Because what, dude? Fucking, I have this friend who kept bringing a ton of people to like 3 or 4 shows I've done, but because he went to every single one, last time he said, oh, that joke that you do, like it hits really good normally, but it wasn't as funny this time, and it kind of like fucked my head up a little bit, and it made me doubt my joke a little bit. But I'm just like, it's because he's seen it so many fucking times. But I didn't invite him; he kept wanting to go. Yeah. So now I explained to him, I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna do it. He's like, you did a lot of the same stuff, a lot of the same jokes. I'm like, yeah, because that's how it works.
Yeah, but then but then that's also the opportunity to like teach people, because it's like my friends and family say that shit, and they've been to like, they just come because they know I'm at the Rec Room for every single, like I'm on literally like 9.5 out of 10 shows at the Rec Room, right? Like so my friends and family, like I can't really get them to go to anything else because they just literally will show up to random ass shows. Like, oh, I know Kenny will be on the show, so I'll go to the show. And like they have said that to me, and I just tell them all the time, like, yeah, that's like the thing. Like any comic that you watch multiple times, especially in a short period of time, you're going to see that, and that's kind of like part of what you want to enjoy, like what you should enjoy if you're going to be a fan. Like you kind of got to enjoy that. Before I did comedy, I went to the Comedy Store in a span of like 6 months, I think like 12 times, and I enjoyed that. Like I enjoyed seeing comics do the same. Like it's like, oh, I've seen this bit before, but you see them do it differently. See them like, you know, and then you see some of them where it's like literally like a script that's word for word every single time.
Yeah, that was like when I would watch Neil Brennan at West Side Comedy Theater every Tuesday when I was first starting off, because I thought you just had to improv shit. I thought you had to just keep doing, just jokes like randomly and shit, right? But then I watched him, and he kept doing the same fucking set, like 40 whatever minutes every week, and he would slightly change it, and he would wear the same black pants and make the same joke about wearing black pants, and that changed the way I viewed comedy, to be able to, oh, you're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So
I think it's like it's different for everybody. It's like different comics different comics. I mean, people are just different because it's so funny because it's just like anything in my life. I feel like I'm in the center on that shit too. Like you'll see me do, like I have bits that like jokes, like regular, like where you would be like, oh, this guy's like a normal comic, and then I have more like alty, like bits and shit as well that are like more like, what the fuck are you, what are you doing?
Oh, like the clapping thing.
Yeah, like the clapping thing, or like singing "Oh Christmas Tree," or like yelling at like we went to Arizona. It's just because I can't, like, to me, like, it doesn't make sense when I watch everyone bomb. When I watch people go up and be like, so I'm half black, or I'm Asian, I'm Mexican, I'm fat, I'm this. Like, I went to the fucking supermarket today, like whatever it is. I could go to open mic and watch it, and it's like you can just see that it's like it's not the jokes, it's that nobody cares right now. Nobody cares at all. And then I'll go up and I'll start doing jokes and be like, yeah, okay, nobody, just like everyone else, nobody does care. Yeah. And it's like, I got to do something I got to do something. It's like when we were in Arizona, we went to these 2 comedy clubs in one night, Improv Mania and JP's Comedy Club. And it's like, both of them were like all comics. We went up really late on the fucking JP's, but at Improv Mania, like I watched like 5 people just eat a dick, just the biggest, like, no, just silence. And I go up, I'm starting to do my jokes. It's silent. And then it's like, I can't, it's like, all right, I have to be funny. Right. And so I'm like, clap if, I had people clapping for something, and I was like, all right, keep clapping. I was like, clap if you're straight. And and then everybody claps, and I go, all right, clap if you're gay. And then no one claps. And then I just start going off on like a tirade of like, I fucking knew there was something off about this club. I knew I shouldn't perform here. I didn't realize it was because you guys were homophobic. I didn't realize you weren't letting gays into your club. And just go off on it, and then it's like that does well, and they enjoy it and shit. But it's like you have to be. It's like just something dumb that makes no sense. It's like I went to JP's, and we were there for 4 hours watching everyone bomb. We were like we were like in the late 30s on the list, and then they were bumping people. The list had like 60 people. They were taking comics from above us because they don't know who we are at all, and they were putting them ahead of us. They were just like, so we went up, we waited for 4 fucking hours at this mic, getting bumped by like all these comics. And it was not like, by the time I was going to go up, it was literally nothing. There was nothing. It was like, and I saw the most like racism I've ever seen at an open mic. There was like a group of like 8 black people that were like real people watching the open mic show. And, one comic went up and did a really funny joke. Like he's like a kid, basically. Like he's got to be like 19 or 20. And he was like, laughs. Like you could tell he's so new, laughing at all his own jokes. And he had a joke. He's like, he's white as fuck. And he's like, I don't think that short black people should be able to say the N-word. And then everybody's like, what the fuck? Like what? And he's like, well, they're short, so they're not really black enough. There's not enough black. They're not black enough. And it was like, I got you. That's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's funny because it's just ridiculous.
That it's kind of funny. Yeah. And so, but he was able to like fuck around with them. And then he did this thing where he's like, yeah, I hate standing next to black guys at a urinal because he's like, I use the pinch method with my dick where I just hold it like this. Yeah. But he's like, they use the cup. They have too much dick, so they use the cup method. Like whatever. And it's like, okay, he got away with that. And so then legit, like 10 comics went up and like did all like pretty racist material, like racist shit, like
some black people,
yeah,
because they saw that he got the laugh, yeah. So they're like, oh, but in their own mind, they're trying to copy the same, format and shit, but yeah. It's probably very skewed their reality of life.
Yeah, but it was just like I was like, holy fuck, and so I went up. When I go up, that's like the first thing I was like, Doug, I can't believe. Like, look, when the first guy goes up and is telling racial, we got to fuck him up. I was like, we got to fuck that guy up. So then so I don't have to listen to this shit. The rest, I was like, I can't believe you guys just sat here and listened to that shit for the rest of the night, like fucking with them. And that was but then I start doing jokes immediately right after that. Like, okay, maybe I can do, nobody don't want to hear the jokes. And so then I do this thing sometimes where I start, like, I'll just be in the middle of a joke and then I'll be like, did somebody in here get into an argument? Like I feel like it's like an energy, like I'm an empath. Mm-hmm. And so I feel people's feelings and emotions. And so like there's a consequence to your feelings around me. So you need to control that. I feel like someone got into a fight And then every time, and so I keep going, did somebody, come on, who, and I every time just keep getting more and more heightened until and then each time I say like I'm an empath, I feel more like, I'm like, you guys, I'm an empath. I don't know if you know what that is. And I keep explaining what the empath is. And I just started, at some point I'm like, I'm like, what the fuck is, like, I'm start yelling and I started like freaking out. I'm like, what? And this one just happened to work so perfectly because nobody there knows me except for like the 3 people we were with. And they all started getting really scared. And they're like, and then there's a comic on the side, and he was like, after like 2 or 3 minutes. Oh, and this one, actually I figured out part of the bit is to continue to tell the fucking person who's lighting. I keep telling them, don't light me. Do not. This is not part of my set. Do not light me. I will not have this be part of my time. Seriously, who got into a fight? Somebody, I know you guys got into like somebody got into an argument. Just tell me, we can get this fucking over with. And then there's a local comic. He's like, it was me, man. And I was like, why would you wait? Why do we waste so much time? Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you speak up immediately? And he's like, I thought this was a bit. And I was like, and then it's just like I said, this one just played out so perfectly. I was like, so you're telling me you think that I told you I'm from California? That's one of the first things I said. So you think that I drove 6 hours to Arizona to a comedy club to go up at 1 a.m. and that this is what I would do with my stage time, that I would do this, that this is what, and he was like, no, dude, no. And I was like, and then I just like looked at everybody and I was like, all right, guys, thank you so much for my time, like that. And then the dude was like, oh fuck. And like, they all thought that I was like seriously going like like I was like a crazy person, just being like, I'm an empath.
But you just did it for you to have fun and say,
well,
fuck
of course,
it,
because
right?
that's what I'm saying is like I do those, like I end up doing those things, and then like that's one that I think is like, I don't even really think that it works, but then every fucking time, like every time I do it, I have people that don't ever forget it, like comics. They'll be like, dude, this one time, because I've done that like maybe 5 times. Yeah. But it's the bit that the most comics have come up to me and been like, dude, that one's fucking, I think that shit's fucking great. Like, I love that fucking bit. That's fine. It's like, it's barely even, I always go like, well, it's barely even a bit. Like, I don't know. Like, it's barely even a thing.
It's just because it's different and people do the same shit. People have such the same format, or like, I look like this, or you probably think of that. You know, it's just everybody's kind of cookie cutter type of shit. So sometimes when you change shit up a bit and it's just, you just do whatever the fuck you want to do, then it's memorable in its own way, right? As long as you, I mean, showing up is the most important part. Yeah. You know? Yeah, jiu-jitsu or comedy, I mean, both of them. The comedy, the way like when new comics start, what I tell them is like, for depending on how many times you go per week and how much effort, well, not even effort, how many times you go per week, the first 6 months to a year, nothing matters except for showing up. If you show up and you go up and you hang out and you're not annoying, those 4 things. You got to show up, you have to get on stage, you have to still, you can't, because for a year, if you're the guy who's like, I got to work at 6 a.m, so you show up and then you have to be the funniest motherfucker. You have to be so funny that everybody wants to be friends with you, right? Because if you're just not, let's say you bomb just like we all do when we first start, you're bombing, like no one's going to go out of their way to be friends with you if you like just leave. It's like you hang around and then like people see you hanging around and they're like, well, I guess I got to fucking be friends with this guy now. You know what I mean? And then you become friends with them and you're like, oh, I do like this person, or you don't, and you either stay or don't stay. That's like how every person enters the scene, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's why usually when you move from scene to a new scene, if you've been doing comedy, you're able to show that you're funny, so it's actually easier to make friends. Like if I go out to fucking any other scene, it's easier for people to like, you know what I mean? It's easier for people to like me because if they see me go on stage, like, okay, yeah, I respect this guy, I respect him, so now we're cool. Fuck, that's true. Because I was in Boston and I did my first time out of state comedy. I did a street busking show, and I was actually really scared because like, fuck, I never did that before, you know? So then the Boston comics went up, and then they didn't get tips, but then I went up and I got $26 from strangers. Fuck it. And then afterwards, they all kept surrounding. They like 6 of them, 7 of them, like surrounding me. Like, yo, dude, like, what? You never really did that. I'm like, no, man, what's your Instagram? And so that proves your point. Yeah. But then, like, because I'm used to the LA and OC scene, I'm not, you know, because there's the energy you get from when it's a new place and you're just like, fuck yeah, like, and then you want to like kind of prove something at the same time, like if you go to different, like Arizona or whatever, right? But then because I'm used to it and I see the same people, it's like I'm just kind of gonna kind of run through certain jokes and just try them out for me. But if those same Boston dudes saw me do an open mic, here, more likely than not, they're gonna kind of be like, okay, it's just whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a show. I mean, a show and an open mic. If you're on a show, this was a show or a mic?
Well, I mean, it was a show, but still, it's open mics. It's you really have to.
Yeah, but if you, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you did an open mic in front of those, I guess if they came here, it depends on how many there are. Because if you you ever show up, like let's say I show up at AJ's, and there's 10 comics that I don't know. Well, then I could just do jokes.
True.
Because they don't know the jokes, and so I can do them and be funny. And so usually, like let's say, so it's like whenever you're around. That's why when Arizona was frustrating to me, because it's like, oh, these are a bunch of comics that none of them have heard our jokes, but they were just like they were just ready at that, because sometimes you just catch the crowd of comics at a weird time, and they were just like,
and they're super jaded, and they're like, fuck it, they're all in their head, they don't care about anything else.
And so, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if anybody sees me, I mean, because I've been doing comedy for 4 years, and one of those years is the whole pandemic, so really like 3 years of comedy. And so I've gone through, but I've been at the Rec Room basically since like 4 months in. And so during the pandemic, I counted. I went on our ticketing service, and I counted, because like all the shows that I was on, I've done like over 500 shows in that amount of time at the just at the Rec Room.
In what time?
In 3 years.
That's a lot of fucking shows. Dude.
Yeah,
like shows we're talking.
Yeah, like shows at the Rec Room.
That's a fucking lot, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like it's and so it's like, for me, if I can go up in front of people that paid to come watch comedy, it's easy. Like that's the easiest fucking best. Like if I'm gonna showcase myself, like just give me a bunch of people that wanted to come watch comedy. If they paid to be, if they like, I'm not even hung up on the ticket price thing. I'm just saying they came to it. Like if you're putting it in a setting that's made for comedy,
and they want to laugh.
Yeah. Then it's easy. Like that's the easy part. I could do, like if I do that in front of fucking people anywhere, like I'll be fine. Mics, you never know. Open mics, you just don't know what you're gonna fucking.
Yeah, because it's just a bunch of fucking comedians,
Yeah, so it varies. I mean, I tend to just try to make it happen, no matter make it out of selfishness, more of wanting laughs, to make it happen either way. But yeah, it's just like, jiu-jitsu and comedy have huge parallels, but it's just like, showing up. All you got to do in the beginning is show up, and then over time, then it's showing up. Are you showing up, and then are you putting in effort into what you're doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like we all know the comics that show up and tell the same jokes for 4 years, 3-4 years, like for the whole time I've been doing comedy.
You can tell too, because they'll even have these little breaks where like, I know what you think. Yeah, I saw the way you reacted. Nobody reacted. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, so it's like, you eventually have to put in effort.
Yeah.
But for the first 6 months to a year at least. I mean, in some people it's like 2-3 years, because it's like people will get hung up too much on the years thing. That's why I say the sets, because I'm like, dude, if you start breaking, because I started doing math. If you start breaking it down, that because number one, if the first week I started comedy, I did 2 shows or 3 shows. I think it was like 3 shows a week. Starting the first week I started, right? If I got booked anywhere doing 2 or 3 shows, to get to the amount of shows that I did in those 3 years it was 7 years. You know what I mean? That's the real timing of comedy. The real timing of comedy is how much stage time have you had in front of, but there's no way to do that. There's no way to like put a number on that. It's like, how much stage time have you had in front of real crowds?
Yeah. Like
people who were like a crowd that was there. Like, I mean, fuck, even if it's a crowd in a bar, if it's a crowd though, like how often have you gone up in front of like more than 40 people?
Oh, is that a question?
No. I'm saying that's like the that's more. I would say that if people could put a number on that, that would tell me more than you telling me that you've done it for 7 years.
Yeah, and also even if it wasn't just shows, if you're doing a lot, because I did 300 in my first year, because I was working full time, and it was crazy. But that I feel really fucking comfortable in front of any like people, like for shows and stuff too. So I think, but doing it like real shows, if they were all just real shows, that would be next level, right? So like,
well, the thing is what I've noticed, like, have you done like a bunch of sets in comedy in clubs?
Clubs, I don't know if you want to say like a bunch, but I don't know, just I'm not sure exactly how much.
And like, do you think you've done more than 50?
At actual club, no, not 50. But I've done a bunch of bar shows mixed with those club stuff. So
the like where for me, and again, these are all, everything I'm saying is just my opinions. You know, everybody's got their opinions on comedy. Where the rubber meets the road, though, is those shows. I keep saying it. Those shows where people paid. That's a date night. They're fucking out there to see comedy. Because when I first started, it took me like fucking 6 months at the Rec Room of just like, I would do good sometimes. I would do okay sometimes. But I would bomb a lot, and it took time to realize how to talk to people. Like, you can't talk to the people the way that. This is my only thing against just against the open mics.
Yeah.
Not against them, but it's saying that it does matter. Because you have to learn how to talk to those people. Especially Huntington Beach is more similar to going on the road, from what I hear. Even though I don't go on I've not been on the road, but from what I hear, than LA. And I notice that when I go to LA, like if I go to the store and do like the belly room, like that shit's like fucking like easy. Like it's so fucking easy. The people are ready. They're like in fucking, especially, I mean, you're Asian. I don't know if you know that.
No, I
but you being Asian, you come to Huntington Beach and you're performing at the Rec Room you're gonna run into, sometimes you're talking about Asian shit and they just don't fucking care, or the way that you're showing it to them is too abrasive for them, and so they can't like that's what I learned. I have the joke, this is exactly what so I have a joke that I don't do too often anymore, just from having a lot of time and trying to work on new jokes. So I was like talking about being half black and half white. I'm adopted, so my whole family is white. And not to bore you with the whole thing, just the part that matters is there's a chunk where I would say my parents didn't teach me a lot about being black growing up, but I feel like my dad was trying to give me a hint the first time I left my house alone by myself. He called me back. He like, I was getting out the door and he's like, "Hey Kenny, be careful out there, nigger." And that was the joke. And that was that joke was doing, that was like my one of the first jokes I did that was like doing well everywhere. I'd do that at all the mics. I would do that at the few shows that I was booked on, like the bar shows and shit, before I did the Rec Room. And then I did the Rec Room, and it would like, sometimes it would be super funny, like it would kill. And then, but most of the time it would be like hit and miss, and like more like almost bomb. Like that wouldn't be terrible, but it would almost like be like it didn't hit at all. And I was like, what the fuck? And I learned over time, it's like the way I did it was like too abrasive. And so what I learned was literally, this is what the joke turned into. I was like, you know, my parents didn't teach me a lot about being black growing up. Like if you have a black kid, you probably would at least sit them down and be like, "Hey man, I don't know. I don't know." Or at best you could sit them down and be like, "Hey, we love you for everything that you are, but you're going to go out in the world and you're going to meet some people that, you know, maybe judge you just based on the color of your skin. That says more about them than it says about you. We love you. Now go." But my dad didn't do that. Right as I was getting out the door, he called me back and he was like, "Be careful out there, nigger." And the joke like does well every single time.
Yeah.
And it's that little bit of like an open mic crowd, you can get right to that point on the super abrasive, like this borderline like racist thing where you're like you're gonna make them feel almost like they said it, and like, can I laugh at this?
Yeah.
Like, am I allowed to laugh at this? You know, in LA, easy. Like the store did that joke a couple different times in the belly room. Fucking did it the original way. Fucking easy, right? It works. Everybody gets it. Everybody laughs. But I had to learn that to fucking pamper these fucking white people a little bit.
Yeah, because they're not sure. It's like, oh, am I going to look racist if I laugh at this? Is it okay?
But then I laid out an entire scenario of like, hey, this is really what I'm like. And it's like, that's the stuff that I attribute to like, you got the learning. Not that I'm not even saying like you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I'm saying overall, it's the main thing that all the people, when I'm talking about this, like, this fucking, you start doing 5-minute guest sets, you get, and the cool thing about you getting your people there is your people do laugh at you a little bit more, like, right? Like they do. So if you are telling these jokes that maybe wouldn't hit all the time in the beginning, if you have your people there, they are laughing. And so you get a little bit of confidence. And then eventually, like I said, you'll hit that, like maybe they're not there at all. And then you hit the wall of like, oh fuck, like this doesn't work just like this. And I've just seen like so many of the local comics go through this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right about that, because I do this thing where, you know, I say like, "Oh, I'm so glad my dad's dead," and I lead into my other stuff.
Right.
But it hits very differently in front of different crowds, and then it can ruin the whole joke or help it because it's so just like they don't know how to react. So it's like how I set it up, everything before that, and then the things after. But mainly the setup to get to that point, so they kind of know that it's not like hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh no, I feel you, and it's like sometime like I have to remember I got to get you on a show at the Rec Room, but you'll see like that's a big thing that I've dealt with, and especially right before the pandemic, when I'm feeling like right now I feel pretty shitty on stage, like show wise. Like it's fine. Like I'm doing fine. Like I've done 4 shows back at the Rec Room now. 2 of them were great. One was fucking one I bombed, and then one was okay. And those are the okay and the bomb are host sets as well, which you have to take into account. But I'm just not like sharp. I'm not like sharp like I was before the pandemic.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was dealing with before the pandemic, this is like a random thing, is I do all that stupid shit at open mics, and I don't really like. Were you at AJ's on Monday? I don't know. Yeah. And so I do shit like that because like AJ's is like I only went to AJ's. I love AJ, but his mic.
We love AJ.
Yeah. No. Before because it sounds like I'm going to talk shit, but right now, I've been saying for 3 weeks his mic has almost run its course. That doesn't mean that we won't have that mic for 3 more fucking years, right? But it's almost run its course for now because when it started, there were 40, 50 comics coming. But then you're watching the same people every fucking week. And so when I went up, the only reason I have fucking jokes, like I have bits that I'm working on, but you guys aren't going to they're little parts to the same bits I've been doing. So when I start saying the bit, you guys aren't going to wait for the fucking new part and be like, wow, Kenny, you did a new part to that joke. I really like that. Like one person may notice that out of everybody that's there. So that mic's kind of like unless we can get real audience there, which you're not, it's in a backyard, you're not going to, there's not even a point in trying to get real audience there. It's run its course on being one of like the better mics in my opinion,
because it's just the same exact people at the same exact time, and so it feels like you're stuck in time.
Yes. And it's like it's nothing he's doing, it's nothing he's doing.
Him, no, for sure
he's doing or anything. It's just any mic where you're never gonna get the only reason this works on those slotted mics in all those pay to plays is because they only let like 10 people in. And so it's always this different combination. Like if his mic was 10 guys at a time or 10 people at a time, then we would never have that same. But now it's like all of us have seen each other's shit.
Yeah.
And so, but when I feel really good at the Rec Room, then the open mics, I literally am like, I don't give a like. I literally feel like I don't care at all. So I'll start going up and like I won't really do the like other shit. I'll literally just like be like I'm throwing out like 10 bits that I'm like just trying to get another bit going, get something else to add to my fucking to see if it's got legs enough to then take it to the Rec Room. And then because of this, I did this for like a year, and all these new comics started, and then comics don't come to the Rec Room shows. Like they don't like just drop by, which is crazy to me. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything for me. It's not like I like need. It's not like they're a real audience, right? Like it's like, oh, you're making the club money or anything. But I would think that more comics would be like Patrick Bornhop and Joe Kellman. They came to both shows this weekend. They just sat in the back, dropped by, drank like a beer, and fucking watched the shows each night.
Oh, we can just drop by like that?
Yeah, everybody. Oh, yeah, of course,
shit.
of course. I guess well, that's a good point that I do need to tell everybody.
Yeah, because
everybody's allowed to fucking like you can drop by if the show's sold out. I will usually find like because a lot of times the sold out shows are the ones the comics want to come to because it'll be like again Kyle Kinane's here or the Sklar brothers. Those ones, I have like 3 places in the room I can stand you if you want to fucking you can literally stand and watch the fucking show if there's no seats. Like any show you want to fucking come hang out. If anybody wants to come, if you're a comic, like it's a fucking comedy club. That's what it is. Like if you want to come hang out there, that's literally your best. Like if you're a local comedian, that is your best option to getting on the shows. The people that I see all the time are naturally going to book them.
Yeah, like I love watching comedy just to watch comedy. So now
anytime you want to fucking, if you want to fucking, if anytime you want to come, if you want to bring a person, like if you want to if you have a +1 and you just want to bring someone with you and come watch a show or something, by all means, that's what it's for.
I was gonna go to those shows, but then I had some other shit. You know, like I wanted to see Lucas and AJ, but but you're right.
But what I've realized, what I've realized is because they don't come to the shows and they see me. There's just like a bunch of them have this thing where they're like, wait, this guy fucking manages the comedy club and barely can do comedy. Because then a few of them came to random shows and they're like, oh shit. Like after the show, they're like, I had no idea that you were good at comedy.
Yeah. Because at the open mics, because even for me, you're right about the AJ Mike thing, because I don't have that fire when I go. I'm just like, it's a work thing. You know, we're working out some things, but am I really working out things? Because it's the same fucking thing. It's like playing the same video game over and over.
I'm telling you, the only reason that I went this last week was because Ashley had a roast battle last night, and I was literally like, I don't really want to go to AJ's, I don't think. And then she's like, oh, I want to run my roast jokes, and I was like, hey, we'll go. Oh, I'll go for sure. Like I was like, you need to run those jokes. Like then I'm down to go. But I just and then I went and I actually had a few things I was going to work on, and then I started doing that clapping thing, and then I was like halfway through the set, and I was like, nothing, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to hear the jokes and listen to them well enough for me, and so I just kept doing the clapping thing for the whole set.
That makes absolute sense, because you're just like, let me just do it for me. Like, fuck it, right? That's why I've been going to LA more, because, I mean, I started in LA, but then I'm glad you brought it up, because I noticed that for a few weeks I only hit AJ's, and I would do like other stuff, but just AJ's, and not hit many mics because I don't know, some other shit. And then I just saw a extreme diminishing return. It was just like, it makes me doubt my jokes, all that. But then you go to LA, and you're right about the slotted thing, because then I started doing LA again, but you know, the pay to play ones, but these are all different people, and the mixture of the combinations, as you said, even if you know a few of them, it does make a huge difference, and you feel fresh and you can try your shit out. To me, the only reison I don't go to LA, number one, you live closer to I'm like between.
You live in a perfect spot for that. I started back up in March, like March 3rd or something. And I went to LA, and most of because if you're trying to make it worth it to go from Huntington Beach, try to do a few mics. And it's like, there's a couple, like the Flashback is cool. They have their slotted thing. That place is pretty cool. But then a lot of these other places, it's like, it's just like the fucking drug addicted fucking cokehead comics that like are just way more into partying, and I can't, bro. I like to party, I like to have fun, but to me the fucking fun part is like comedy,
fucking killing it,
like doing the comedy and then I just want to do comedy, stand around and smoke weed and drink with the comics that also do comedy and bullshit.
Just hang.
Like, that's it. We're all sitting around the rec room, standing around the rec room or another open mic and fucking hanging out. Like, that's the end of it for me. Like, I don't need to fucking do coke. Like, I don't want that. I don't, like, that shit's just, it's not good. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna,
definitely not
like,
good.
it's not gonna fucking, it's not gonna, it's so stupid. I don't know. It's such a stupid thing to be like 34 years old and be like around all these like young people, like young comics, and be like, you guys got to stop doing coke. Like, it's fucking,
instead of you just around them just fucking like fucking it, you thinking idiots.
It's just fucking
dummies.
It's really dumb. But it's like, that's why I stopped going to LA. I'm, within the next 3 to 6 months, OC should be back for real. And the thing about the thing is, somehow the OC is like, we have a good reputation. Like, we have a good, and the reason is we have a good reputation and a bad reputation, right? Our bad reputation is from the open mic scene of LA, because the open mic scene of LA looks down on us. Like, you're not LA, right?
That's true.
Right? Yeah. They do. Yeah. But let's go. Like, I'd say that if there are any LA open micers listen to your podcast, fuck them. Like, seriously, I mean it. If you're an open micer in LA, I could give a fuck less about you.
He said it.
Like, you're not doing it. The open mic scene in LA, you're not doing it. That's why you're in the fucking open mic scene. You're not fucking graduating. You're staying in that scene. You're not graduating. That's why fucking people from Orange County end up doing comedy in Orange County. And then where do we go fit in? We go fit in like at the shows. Like, we'll go do roast battles. We'll go do we'll get booked on the shows. We're not going to LA to fucking do your fucking homeless people open mics, to fucking do echoes on Pico and shit. Like, if you're doing echoes on Pico, you're probably not fucking getting booked on anything. It's like two separate. Nobody talks about that. It's two separate things. Like, just because you're an open micer in LA doesn't mean that you're like a guy at the store that people like know who you are and shit like that. You know what I mean?
There's
and
a
they
big
confuse the two where they
Yeah.
think like, oh well, because I'm here and I've moved to LA. I'm doing. No, you're doing LA. Like, you know, somebody who moved to LA and is doing LA, Chappelle Lacey. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like, he does the King and the no, that's not that's
Steel Von and Brendan Shaw.
No, he's on that. He's on
that?
there. Yeah, he's one of the side guys on that, and then now he does the fighter and the kids.
Okay,
he's one of the dude. It's Brendan Schaub. I think it's Malik Bazile, I think is his name. I'm sorry if I butchered that. And then Chappelle Lacey. This dude was in Arizona, used to feature for everybody that came through Arizona. Fucking super fucking funny dude. Super fucking nice guy, which is always like, that's like my favorite shit. People that are like actually cool people that have success and shit. And he fucking moved out here, and then he just fucking he went from Arizona to LA, and he wasn't fucking doing the open mics. He started like getting some spots like at the store and shit, got plugged in there, met a couple fucking bigger comics who were like, yeah, you're a legit fucking comedian. And now he's doing these podcasts and building his own shit and going around and headlining. That's real shit. Going and fucking signing up for fucking, you know, all these mics in LA, it doesn't mean you're doing, like, that's why I recommend to anybody, just when it's popping. Right now it's not popping. We're trying to get everything back going. The Orange County, just go to Orange County. You'd be better off. Those open micers in LA would be better off driving down to our open mics, fucking, and actually, instead of like sucking their own dicks, doing comedy. Go. I tell you, you want to talk your shit. You want to be mad. You want to be mad. Go watch fucking Roast Battle last night. Garrett Ulrich and Ashley Kelly roast battle. And as they're coming out, they're fucking like, oh fuck, these guys are from Orange County. When Orange County comics come, they fucking bring it. And it's like, and this isn't something I'm making up. Like, this is, I never even thought about this. I've just had, do you know Dave Yates? Sells hot sauce.
I know the name. I know.
He sells. I apologize, Dave.
I apologize if I fucked up.
No. I apologize because I led with he sells hot sauce. He probably wouldn't be mad. He's a very funny comic, and he sells hot sauce
on the side.
On the side,
yeah.
It's called hot sauce. It's fucking bomb, dude. If you like hot sauce, it's like a more of a
is it more flavorful,
vinegar based. Like almost like Tabasco, but it's its own flavor. It's very fucking.
But it tastes good. It's not just to be hot.
No, it's not hot to be hot.
Okay.
It tastes really good.
Okay.
So Dave, he was the first person to bring it up to me, and it got me thinking of, and was the person that got me thinking about this, because he came down and was running an open mic, and that's how he was living in LA, but came down and was running an open mic in Orange County, and that's how he met all of us. And then because of the Rec Room, and because like half of the scene at the time, like the core part of the scene, half of it was fucking working at the Rec Room, we'd always all wearing all black. Because we like get off work or we got to go to work. And so he's like, he called us the OC Goth Kids, because we'd be walking down Sunset to the Comedy Store to like go to potluck or something. He's like, it's the OC Goth Kids. And then he's the first one that said, he's like, yeah, I tell everybody. Like, he said that a lot of people talk shit on Orange County, and he's like, and I tell them, like, you watch out, because those motherfuckers will come up here and be funnier than you. Like, he's like, and even if he's like, the one thing about Orange County is like, even if they aren't doing well, he's like, they always fucking bring it. And then I was like, because I don't care. I'm not a guy who's like, I'm not like super prideful in really anything that's like I guess in the Rec Room, I'm pretty prideful in my own comedy, but I'm not like, Orange County, that's where we're from. We fucking fuck you guys because you're from here. Yeah. I never thought about it before. And then I started really thinking about it, started looking at, like, start paying attention and be like, oh fuck, like even the comics that we have that suck, they're trying.
They keep trying.
And they're working on jokes. They're really trying. They don't just show up and go like, I'm going to say the same thing and it's going to magically be different. Like a lot of, you know, the shit that is in LA. And it's not even all of, as much as I'm fucking talking shit to the LA comics, honestly, it's not even all of their fault. It's a more of a long, it's just a system.
It's just its own ecosystem
that you get plugged into, and it's like, what are you going to do? How are you going to?
So you react then, and you just do the same thing that everybody else is doing. Treat everybody the same way they treat each other.
And then when you become one of the fucking people, are you going to then be like, let's dismantle this whole thing? No, you're just going to keep on fucking going. Everybody's just trying to do their best, but it's still, I mean, I think a comedy would be better if there was like more integrity, like in comedy, like more integrity over doing anything to get ahead.
Yeah, and that's why LA can be quite toxic, because everybody's trying to get on ahead. But the funny thing is, because they're coming from such a crap mentality, that nobody's really helping each other get up, and they're stuck in a hamster wheel. No, but shout out to you know who you are, like my LA friends, you know exactly where. But besides that, it's very much, let me step on your fucking head to make myself feel better, and actually go fucking really nowhere.
And even
it's for ego.
And even some people that might like put the, I don't know if they would, maybe I'm fucking wrong. Even some people that might put themselves as LA open micers who I'm talking about, it's not even, if it's not even, they're probably like, they're like, well, what the fuck? I'm probably not even talking about them because they are doing, I'm talking about open micers. Like that's like,
I don't even try to produce shows or
yeah,
nothing,
I think that's
just
a term,
purely an open mic.
Yeah, I think that's just a term that we, again, because nothing in comedy is identified and nothing has rigid lines. So people like, I'm technically an open micer. I would say I'm an open micer, even though I'm fucking
producing shows,
managing and booking a comedy club and perform at that fucking comedy club every single week. I can't confidently just be like, I'm not an open micer, you know? But a lot of those people that would I'm not considering them in that. If you're doing shit, if you're, you know, like, I don't know, like, you know, Kazim Rahim or Raham. I'm just fucking up names and shit. You got that podcast Tough Choice?
No.
Was Kazim? You got to meet Kazim. He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
But he, like, people like that, like, where, yeah, maybe he's doing the open mics in LA, but he's also fucking got his shit going on. Like, he's doing shit, and his like fucking comic is going and getting shit done. Mikey McKernan.
Yeah, Mikey. Yeah.
Mikey, you might see Mikey at a bunch of LA open mics, but he's not an open micer. Like, he's doing shit. You know what I mean? Whereas but there's I won't name. I actually almost just named one of the. I won't make you do editing. I was gonna be like, no, here's an example of who.
Editing is easy. You can say what the fuck.
All right, I'll say. I actually fucking could care less if you even put it. If you do whatever. But just somebody like, you know who you are. You can believe it in or you can take it out. It's all up to you, Mike. I'm not gonna. I stand by my words. It's just like you get the fucking people like the fuck. I like that guy and hate him all at the same time. Like, there's something about him that I'm like, all right, I respect. You know what it is? I respect him, but I don't like him.
What do you respect about? I'll take this part about.
He's funny sometimes. He's just off-putting. He's probably a little fucking Asperger's.
He's kind of standoffish, so it could be like a mental thing.
Trust me, a bunch of people fucking think that shit of me. Like, so many people think that like I'm meaner than I am. Or like that I have some weird thing.
It's probably because you're just direct. Because I can be quite direct at times too. So I saw that immediately, and I was like, okay, I know who you are.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are sensitive. So when you get straight to the point, and then you don't like fluff it up. You're like, no, it's just da. And then they're just like, where's the da.
Yeah.
To build up to that, right?
Yeah. There's no point. We just gotta we gotta move through this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have, and I also don't like, I hate that, like, I don't have time for people's feelings, or I'm just blunt. I just do, and honestly, I'm just trying to get everything done. I'm trying to get everything done.
Efficiency.
And I also will stop thinking about things if I tell you. So if like, there's just shit that there's things I do that don't help myself. Like, I've gone up to comics and been like, hey, I dare you to like go up on stage and not talk about sex for a week, and then that comic doesn't like me anymore because like that was my approach to being like,
because they took it as like a jab at them.
Yeah.
No, but you're just giving them a challenge to get.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody actually thinks about this except for me. Is that unfortunately? I mean, I don't really care, but unfortunately for some people, not only am I like a peer. I'm like their peer. I'm not above anybody else, right? I'm a peer and I'm an open micer, but I also have a job to book a comedy club. And when you book a comedy club, you have a job to develop. You have a job to develop people.
Yeah.
And like no one sees nobody realizes that, or even there's a reason why I even have an opinion on everybody's comedy. If I never managed this club, I wouldn't. I would just be like, oh yeah, that guy sucks. Oh yeah, that guy's funny. It would be like, it would end at that. I wouldn't be like, so I have my shit. Like, think about how much you think about your comedy, right? So I have that in my head. And then I have another part that's literally thinking about everyone else's comedy. Like everyone, like, oh, how's this person doing? Are they getting better? Am I being a piece of shit because I am a person and I have like fucking, you know, personal feelings towards people that I don't like? Am I being a piece of shit by not booking them because I don't like them? Am I not taking or am I doing the opposite? This guy is fucking so cool. They're my fucking friend. I want to book them, but they don't go to the fucking open mics. And that's all I've asked is for people to go to mics, work on jokes, and be funny. Like show that you're either funny or that you're like making progress, and I'll book you. So then I have friends. I have like good friends that won't go to open mics that I don't book. Like, and that's what I said about integrity. This is like the comedy scene would be better off if there was more people that had integrity when it came to comedy. It's like, cause I do that. I literally sit there and be like, I hate this person. And then I have to hit them up and be like, hey, do you want to come do a show? So I will literally have people that I like I'm looking through my phone, looking at I look at Instagram, look at Facebook, look at my phone contacts, look at everything, and I'm like looking, I'll be like, I really dislike this person, like I hate this person, but I gotta hit them up and like because I have to have a separation between that, otherwise then the club just becomes like Kenny's Funhouse that I just do whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I still have to be business and professional with that shit. Yeah.
And so as long as it's not something like really. Like there's a few people that have like done things that they know who they are that like cross the line to where like I'll fucking like, you know, like there I won't get into details more just to protect another person in the story, but there's like somebody who did something to someone that we know, and then they showed up to like the year like in like 2018 they did some fucked up shit, and then they showed up to the rec room with one of the bigger comics like that were on the show, and I was like. At first I was like, oh, I'll just be cool. And they're in the green room and shit. And then I was like, nah. And I went in the green room and like, it was like all seven comics for the show are there. And I was like, I'll tell you after the whole story. I was like, I literally was like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, oh, what? I was like, you know what you did? I was like, get the fuck out of here or I'm going to remove you from here. Type shit.
You know what I like about that? Okay, let me two parts. Well, first of all, I think the way you think of, I don't produce as many shows, but you know, I was producing at West Side, and then you know, I have that bar, and the recent bar show, like I'm always watching the people as well because if it's well, first of all, it's cool to see, to observe, and to watch, and it inspires me at the same time, right? But it is cool to see when you've been watching them do the open mics and you see their set, which is why I actually put AJ on my show recently too, because I've been watching him go from like blah 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 to like whoa, and to get tighter and tighter, and he's like really working on it, and he didn't, and that's why I was like, I want to see him do it in front of this audience to help it even more, right? So there is that. So I can you know, maybe I probably don't do it to the extent you do it, but I have that in my mind as well. And then going back to what you said about kicking that person out, this is a problem. So there's a podcast I'm going to release before this one where, you know, I had two girls on it. They were saying that nobody stands up for when they do fucked up shit. When fucked up shit happens, and they blow over it just because they're so worried about their own shit.
Yeah, dog.
So I respect that. You
not
have
even
your
like
own thing.
being a hero or being like, dude, I can't let that shit. It's just like there's certain things that like like it'll cause me more harm internally by like letting some shit slide.
Yeah, it's your own fucking sticking true to your own values and morals, right? Yeah.
And so I was like, I gotta. There's a few things in the comedy scene. Like luckily, as like, and I don't go looking for it because there's some things like there's a couple things I could literally go to some LA open mics and look for and be like, all right, we'll settle this right now. I'm just waiting until I fucking run into them and shit. And I'll tell people again. I'm not on the podcast, but I tell as many people as I can in person about this shit because it's like I just think I think like it's easy to go and cancel Chris D'Elia, right? And even that's like this weird murky thing. Like we don't have to get super deep into that. But there's like there's like dudes that are affecting, like they're just affecting, like it's like he just did it on this like such a grand scale, right? I guess what the shit that he was doing, which again you can argue different things about what he was doing. Like I will say I think it's because I have said this a couple different times. I think it's important. I think everybody lost sight of the Chris D'Elia thing. Everybody lost sight because they just want to cancel someone so bad. What he did that's wrong isn't fucking 18-year-olds. It's not the one thing he did that was wrong was he groomed girls, and everyone got away from you gotta, when somebody does something wrong, you have to fucking stick to it. That's how the law works, right? When you go into fucking court, they don't just go like, well, you're also like a weird bad guy. You know what I mean? They stick to the facts. And with cancel culture, like if you really want to cancel somebody, stick to the facts. And what he did that's wrong is he messaged fucking girls when they're 16 or 17 and then was right on track with messaging them again when they're 18, because he was like, oh,
he literally remembered, and planned it.
That's fucked up.
That's
fucked up. But if all day long you're like, how old are you? Oh, you're 18, cool, and you want to talk to them and fuck them, that's just the way the law works.
Yeah.
And is he a scummy guy for that? On a scale, yeah, somewhere on the scale. But should you lose your career and you lose your life over that? No. You know, and if we're gonna start losing career and life over cheating, there's a lot of people that we should probably that would lose their career in life, because that's like that's a different line. We're moving like the line, and if we want to move the line, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like if society agrees, now we're going to cancel people that cheat. Like cheating has become a thing that's so bad that we're canceling you. Like then fine. But his thing is, and that's why I think it's super important. He was grooming. He was messaging girls while they're teenagers, and then when they're 18, ready to fuck them.
That's like the high school teacher that does that shit, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Then that's what was wrong. But there's motherfuckers doing doing shit, bad shit in LA that are like, I even see people talking about it. I see on Instagram, like there was a girl that was talking about it, and then now she's fucking back in the thick of it. Like I see her posting their shit, posting with the same people that she was speaking out against and shit, and she changed her mind
because she cared more about
comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you start getting shunned and you start getting iced out, it's like, that's why I do feel fortunate that I have the Rec Room, because you can't, like, for now, as long as that place exists, you can't.
Nobody can hold anything over you.
Yeah. And even if you could, like, it's like, I would like to think that enough people know, that I know enough people that like me and think that I'm funny, that I would also, like, I could still keep my same values and be fine. You know what I mean? Because that's the main thing that the Rec Room does. For, like, my main, like, selfish thing for the Rec Room is people seeing me. That's why it is important for me to be on the shows. For me, like, it's like I got to be on the shows because I need all these other comics to see me and fucking be like, oh, that guy's funny. There are not a lot of, like, there's not a lot of guys that run clubs that are also, like,
they do comedy too.
No, there's a lot that do comedy, but do comedy at a, like, good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That do comedy.
Yeah. Okay. Touche.
Yeah.
There's not a lot. And again, that was something else I didn't realize until 3 or 4 comics told me. Just like I didn't even realize I'm one of the only fucking black bookers, like black bookers of a club, of a comedy club. I'm one of the only black bookers on. Dude, a black comic told me that. He's like, you realize? He's like, he congratulated me when I like fully took over, and he was like, congratulations. He's like, you're one of, like, that's really cool. You're one of the only fucking black bookers, like, on the West Coast.
I didn't think about that.
There's a bunch of black producers and people that are booking, but he's talking about, like, at a comedy club,
a club, and
I was like, fuck, that's fucking. I didn't even. I don't think about shit like that.
Well, how does it make you feel?
Nothing, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
like,
but it's kind of cool. It's cool.
Like, I'm happy to be able to do it. Like, I'm happy to, I'm me. I try to, like, I don't know. I try to not. I think dissociate is the wrong word. It makes it sound like a negative. Like, it's like negative. I don't know. I just try to not be super. Like, I'm mindful of race, but it's like, I don't know. I don't see color. No, I'm just kidding. but I don't know. Like, I just think it's weird. The race is such a weird subject to me, probably because I am adopted and my whole family's white, and so I just I don't know. I understand a lot of different shit. Different perspectives. Like, I know why white people love the police, and I know how they teach their kids, because that's how I was raised. Like any white kid, of, like, the police are heroes and do exactly what they say, and, like, if you don't do anything bad, they won't kill you, and shit like that. And I also, when all the fucking social justice shit really picked up in, like, 2013 and shit around there, is I think when I was really, my eyes were opened more, because I used to be more on the side of how I was taught of, like, no, just don't do it. And it's like, then when you start to really think about it and be like, oh yeah, but they're not supposed, like, I get what you're saying, don't do that, but at the same time, they're not supposed to do that. Yeah. So, like, shit, like just learning all that shit, I still, even after knowing everything, I still think that it's a huge detriment. Like, it's all a huge detriment, I think. Like, this is, like, not a popular opinion, but, like, Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, Blue Lives Matter, Back the Blue, all of it's bad. Because I just think it's like the simple concept of it keeps us talking about it, keeps us perpetuating it, and it's doing more damage than it is changes for good.
I want to speak on the Stop Asian Hate thing, because and there's other people that I've talked to about this, other Asians. If you keep showing videos of Asians being helpless and getting fucked up, that is like, hey, come at us.
Yeah, I just don't think it doesn't.
So it's hurting. And here's the thing too. And also, I mean, it's also relevant because there are things that are obviously happening, but it's a double-edged sword on top of the fact that other Asians are capitalizing on it to push their career forward. That's it. They don't really care. And I watch it, and I know they don't give a fuck, but they act like they care because.
Well, I think that's everybody. I think that's what everybody's doing
for any movement, right?
For anything that's going on. I think there are noble people.
Yes,
there are people out there,
noble people that care,
that are care. And I think a lot of times those are the people that are at like the top of the organizations and they're really like pushing things forward. Yeah. The problem is as the lower you go and the shit that you do, you just see that people don't. It's not like a true care. It's like the thing I've tried to do this joke recently, which I'm never going to be able to do about that's not true. I'd have to work on it a lot, and I don't know if I want to put the effort in to a joke about cops. Just basically being like, I understand the movement, I understand Black Lives Matter, I do understand all this shit, but I just also have common sense, and so I see irony, and I think it's ironic to be like, don't think of all of us as you can't think of all of us as the same. You can't, just because these black people did this doesn't mean we all do this. We are individuals, blah, blah. You can't lump a group of people together. How can we communicate this to the cops? Let's come up with a nickname. Okay, ACAB. All cops are bastards. It's like you don't want to be seen. Like
fuck, that's what that means.
Yeah, cops.
I kept saying that, but I was like, I don't know what that.
Yeah, all cops are bastards. So you're like, don't judge me. Treat me as an individual. But all cops are bastards. And then when you start talking about like why that is, well, they'll be like, hey, you don't choose to be black. You choose to be a cop. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. It's like there's just so many like technicalities and so many little fucking things where I'm like, and I'm not, this just, the reason why the joke won't work is because it sounds like I'm just protecting the police, which I don't give a fuck about the cops either. It's like, to be honest with you, like, yes, they're shitty. Yeah. I just think it's ironic to be like, I don't want you to judge all black people the same, but I'm going to judge all cops the same. That's just an ironic fucking.
It's a lot of from every fucking group of people, or every it's a lot of victim.
Blaming, who are the most racist people that I know?
Pointing fingers.
Fucking probably black people and Asian people. Black people and Asian people are the most racist people.
Asians are pretty. I mean, like me, I grew up just hanging out with everybody, right? Yeah. So I have a different view. So when I'm around certain Asians that only hang out with Asians, granted now I hang out with a lot of Asians, but I have friends of everything. It's their mentality can be quite racist and very close-minded to the world and people. And I'm just like, how do you think like that? Yeah. But that's just because they didn't. It's like when you don't taste, like you only eat Indian food and you never tasted any other flavor of food and you think Indian food's the best food, but you only ate Indian food. Yeah. So how are you going to fucking know? And how are you going to know that the other food is bad? You just told yourself it was bad.
Of course.
You're just judging it.
Yeah. And so it's like, I just think that I wish we could just move. I really, really, really wish we could move like forward with everything. Like just be like, all right, we're going to squash it. We're not going to, but there's a lot of things you would have to do because if you want to just squash it, you can't leave the inner cities depleted and with a fucking hard, with it being really hard for kids to fucking make it out of fucking certain parts of Chicago or any fucking city. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there are things. So it's like, is a much more complicated subject because we can't just be like, let's cut it. Let's just cut it. We're not going to talk about racism anymore. We're just going to pretend it didn't happen and move forward because we're not racist anymore. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I get that's the fucked up part is there are still lingering things. And I think the black community and Asian, whichever community we're talking about, they're going to play those things at 100%. The fucking white people are going to play them at 0%, and they're probably really at 50. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be like, the black people are going to be like, we can't get out of the cities because of these things. It's all your fault. You did all this. It's all 100% on you. And white people are like, we didn't do anything. We haven't had slaves in 400 years. And then like the truth is, the reality is in the middle. That white people have done a bunch of shit to fucking like continue to keep it as down as they can and to make it to not even keep it as down. I don't even think keep other races down. It's just to put themselves up. Like I don't think that I think over the last 30, 40 years they haven't concentrated on like we're going to keep other races down. We're just going to like make it easier for ourselves.
Yeah, which makes it but because there's that distance it makes naturally
of course
harder for the other one. But that's why I made videos on TikTok talking to I was like, dude, Asian dudes, stop fucking playing victim and be better. Like fucking that Bruce Lee quote, don't pray for an easier life, pray for the strength to endure a tough one. That's how I live my life. That's how I built my confidence because I was shy, I didn't like myself, all that shit. But it's like if you keep blaming everything, like they don't like me because I'm Asian, well I thought that too, but you know what, even if that's true to a certain point, if you keep telling yourself that, you're gonna be closed-minded, you're gonna be scared of the world. But what if you said, fuck it, who cares if whether it's true or not, just fucking get good. And then the same girls that were like, I don't date Asians, do you know how many girls I fucked that were like, that I'm the first Asian because I got out of that mindset? I was just like, yo, let me just develop myself. Who gives a fuck, right? And Asians got mad at me Asian dudes were like, no, you don't know what it's like. I'm like,
You're also
I
Asian.
do. I'm Asian.
Yeah.
What are you fucking talking about, right?
Yeah.
So it just goes down to like solution mentality and just holding yourself like full blown accountability at the end of the day, whether it's your fault or not. If you can hold yourself accountable, then you're gonna find out, okay, what can I do?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like anything else, and unfortunately, even though being against racism is like a noble, good cause,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of stupid people that are against racism. So that's what you're dealing with, is like you still have to deal with idiots. Like even though they're on the right side, they're still idiots.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that's just looked past. Like I think we look past that a lot. We look past about like how stupid people really are. Like how like
people are irrational as fuck. I mean, Robert Greene talks about that's the whole fucking premise of his Laws of Human Nature book, which is fucking the shit, by the way. All humans are irrational.
Of course.
Every single one of us.
Of course. Yeah, everybody's irrational, but then you have a level of like I don't know what you want to call
There's
it.
levels to it.
Like there's levels of common sense or levels of just I don't know, just people are
self-awareness, which can help with the like
course.
quelling the irrationality and doing like fucking nutty shit, like murdering people and stupid
Of
shit
course.
like that, right? But damn, we got deep right there.
Fuck yeah.
That's a real shit.
We went on such a fucking starts out with porn and then comes like all the way around. We talk about so much shit.
Fucking full circle, man. But I think that's a good place to end it right there.
Yeah, so we hate all LA open micers. We don't believe in black people or Asian people. I don't know, like we should maybe finish with a white power.
I feel like when you said that, I'm just viewing people like looking at me being like, he hates black people. He hates no. Guys, listen back to what was said. But
This is the clip.
Yeah, but even with that, just to wrap up the whole race part, like, yeah, there's that side of the, don't play victim, but at the same time, yeah, there are realities, of course. There's racism, there's all this stuff. Dude, life is crazy, man. Just fuck it. I just want everybody to be happy. Well, not the people that I hate. They can fucking
Hey, I want them to be happy too, dog.
yeah, happy and debt and misery. But anyways, so Kenny, would you like to plug in your socials?
Yeah, you can find me at It's Kenny Weber with 1 B. On Instagram is probably the best. And then come to the Rec Room. Look up recroomhb.com for tickets or at recroomhb on social media. I run that social media as well, so you'll be talking to me if you're talking to them. And I think, that's it.
And that's it. Guys, you have heard a lot. You learned a lot about porn like I did and a lot of other things. And you know what? Thank you for listening. And until then, I will see you on the next episode. Bye.